Hello, fellow devs. Today I want to talk about a very important concept in backend development that's cutting across to database and collaboration. So this concept is known as database migrations. Okay, if you ever wondered how do these big companies collaborate on shared database and always have minimal friction with each other, okay? So today I want to show you how this is done and how you can use it in your application. For this, I'm going to use Node.js and Knex.js with TypeScript, but it also applies in other ecosystems like Django. If you're using Django RM, we have the Laravel migration tool and many others. So I'm just going to show a use case with Knex.js. So to start off, what is migration? Okay, so it's a version script that describes a single ordered change to your database schema. Okay, so either creating a table, adding a new column, adding an index, or backfilling data. Each migration exports an app. So this is in the context of Knex, but generally you should have something which does the forward movement and another which does the backward movement. So let's say if you're creating a table, if you do an up migration, then it should be able to create a table. Then if you do a down migration, it should be able to delete the table. Okay, so that is the reference of up and down. Okay, so the down is reversion, reverts the up. So for Knex, we generally just store things. It also has its own database, so it keeps those sequences in the database and make sure that whatever has been applied is never applied again. So even if you make changes to that file, it will only affect those tables that did not apply it. Okay, so it's an append only sequence, meaning you need to be able to these migrations are read only, so you only append to whatever's been done. Okay, so that is for Knex. So in Git, think of migration as Git for your schema. Okay, the state of the database is reconstructible from a sequence of committed changes instead of being whatever someone typed in SQL at 2 a.m. Okay, so without migrations, team end up with 3 typical failure modes. Okay, so schema drift, maybe dev, staging, or prod all look slightly different. Okay, so bugs that reproduce in one environment but not another. We can have lost changes. Someone adds a column manually, it never lands in the repo. The next deployment works on my machine and breaks for everyone else. Okay, fear-based deploy, so nobody is sure what the schema actually looks like anymore, so structural changes stop happening. So if you have a small team, why migration matter at all? Okay, so reproducibility. So let's say you buy a new laptop, or you are in a CI sandbox or the preview branch, one command, pnpm do migrate to latest, rebuilds the old schema from scratch, no ask someone or someone to dump for you the data. Okay, time travel, so migrate, rollback, and undoes the last bunch, breaking change, step back, fix, step forward without restoring a snapshot. So this means if you add something which failed, you roll it back, fix, then reapply. Okay, confidence. So when refactoring, renaming a table, or changing a type in the migration diff, that can be reviewed, tested, and reverted, not one-way YOLO introduction. Okay, so why migration matters in big team, maybe 5+ dev or multiple squads. Okay, small team benefits still apply, but new class problems show up once more than one person touches the database. So coordinated schema, 2 people can't both run add column X against production. Okay, migrations serialize the change through code review, Next, migration log tables further prevent two CI jobs from migrating simultaneously. So this makes sure that when one file is running, another is not running. So that's why I talked about append only approach. Safe deploy pipelines, migrations become a step in CI, CD. So you migrate prod, failures block the rollout, and older versions keep serving. No humans have to remember to run SQL fast, okay? Zero downtime rollouts, large teams deploy, rolling releases, migrations let you separate schema change from code changes. Add column now, start using it in the next release. Drop the old column 2 releases later, you expand contrast the expand and contract pattern, okay? So cross-team contracts, when the backend team renames a column, the data analytics mobile teams can, okay, it's the data stroke analytics or mobile teams can see the migration in a PR before it lands. So migration files become an early warning system for downstream consumers, okay? So reversibility under pressure. So on call, engineers at 3 a.m. Doesn't need to know the schema history, so you just do a rollback. Is a documented and tested path back. So audit and compliance for regulated environments, a file-based review, Git tracked history of every schema change is often a requirement, not nice to have, okay? So regardless of team size, few conventions compound over time. So one logical change per migration, don't bundle, add users table or rename order. So make it small as possible. Never edit migrations that run anywhere shared, okay? Always write a working down. It's tempting to skip until the moment you need to roll back at 3 a.m. So review migrations in PR. A migration is a code. It deserves the same scrutiny as any other change. So when you're reviewing, you get to know something has been added or something has been removed. So you get to question, why was this added or why was this removed? In here, you also never modify the database directly. So everything you do in a migration and whatever change or the snapshot you have in your current machine will be the same snapshot in someone else's machine. So the project here is just a typical Node.js application, and taking you through, it is Next.js. So I'm just going to show you a bit of what we have already. In here, I just have the database DB folder. We have the seeds folder. So seeds, these are now data that you can pre-populate in the database to make sure that if someone is starting off, they can have, you can seed users to make sure that they have a way to log in into the system, or you can populate products just for development purposes. You can see Next.js has this Next file which is very, very extensible, and we have migration settings, we have seed settings, and in here you can see in the Next config we have, for each and every environment you can customize a database for it. So for me locally, I'm going to use SQLite 3, which is a file-based approach. For testing, also better SQLite 3. Then staging, we'll use Postgres. Production, also Postgres. Then we just export this. This is now going to be used inside our index file in the DB. These are not so much important, but you can see we are able to pass the configuration that we just set up and load it using the current environment that we've loaded, okay? So just export this DB, and this DB we can be able to reuse it now across the application globally. Okay, so that is that. So one thing to note is we have this migrations file folder, and I have just a few helper files here to help me set up some things to do with timestamps. They are not that important at the moment. So let's say in here I have some Zod schemas. To start off, we have users. The user has only email and name. Okay. We also have to-dos, of which to-dos has user ID and the title, right? Then this one now will export to be used as type inference here to augment the table so that we get type safe queries. So let's see how do we run migrations to start off. So in our terminal, what we do, because we said we need an up to create the change, an up change, then we also need a down to revert the change. So Knex has this, we have this setup schema scripts here. So don't wonder where am I getting these scripts. So we have one for creating a new migration, this migrate make, migrate latest, this will apply all the migrations. We have the rollback, which rolls back one step backwards, up for applying migration, one migration up, then down for applying one migration down. Okay. Then we have status. This is now to just check the status of your migrations if you have any pending ones. List is to just list the migrations you have available. Seed make, this is now just to create a seed file that you can use to seed. Okay. Then these are just normal JavaScript scripts. So let's go to the thing which brought us here. Okay. So to start off, you'll just write pnpm migrate make. Okay. So what you want to do first is to create users table. Okay. So we just write create users table. Okay. So that is the first migration, making sure the user is in the system. So just run that. What it will do, it will create a migration file in migrations folder, and it is time-stamped to make sure that they are in ordered sequence. Okay. And you can see we are appending create users table. Okay, you can omit the name in totality, but it's good to have the name which describes whatever has been done in that migration file. So we go back to our migrations folder, and you can see we have a new file. This file is called this. Okay. If we open it, you'll see we have this up and down functions. Then I'll just need to import my utilities from helpers yes. Then this will help me a bit. So the app, this is now where we need to create the table. So create users table. Okay. So we'll await Knex dot, so applying against the schema, then it should create users. Okay. So this also expects Knex format document. So we need ID, name, and this should be email, the field email. Then we have name. We should have name here. Okay. So we have name, but in the downstream, okay, so ID is a number, primary increments is a number. In here we just drop the users table. So when you run up, you should be able to create users table. When you run down, it should drop the users table. Okay, let's see that in action. So let's explore our root. You can see we have this dev.sqlite. Okay, I can remove this totally, then run pnpm migrate up. So I told you migrate up applies one migration app. Okay, so this should be able to load the migrations you are having, and you can see this SQLite 3 file has been recreated. If you open it, you should be able to see we have users. All right, so we have users. If I choose to, let's just have it like that. How do you minimize this? Then, so we have the app. Okay, then now if you apply down, this should be able to remove the users table. So if you refresh here, this users should not be there. I don't know why this is not refreshing, but the users is not there actually. Could not find schema for table users. Okay, so the downward now does the rollback. Let's just do app. Then I think users should be available. Let me just refresh. Yeah, now it's available. So that is for users. Okay, then now we say I've created users. Okay, I commit these changes, add users table. Okay, I commit those changes. So the new developer will pull these changes locally, will have those changes. I come again to, because I had multi-table, this is a multi-table application, so I come back to the schemas I have. So I have categories and to-dos, and there's this option of say I have an option to add the category first or add the to-do first. So let me start with the to-dos. I'll just go again to my terminal, then npm migrate. So we make, then create to-dos table. Okay, this should follow the same approach. So this create to-dos table. So this table should have, okay, we don't have create to-dos table with the new description. No. So this create table if not exist to-dos, then ID will be increments. So increments ID, we have title done, and we don't have description at the moment. So then we drop the to-dos in the down section. So we run again our app. Okay, something is up. Use async has to check table exist. Okay. This function is okay. Let's see what we had in the users. Let's just go create table. Just use create table. Invalid. Wait a minute. Migration failed with error, invalid migration. Ah, okay. So let's import. We ensure. Okay. Ensure. So let's try it down. Yeah. So down works. This is now how important this can be. integer, okay, references ID in table users cascade that. Then now if I do up, how it works. So let's say now if I want to add description to my to-dos, okay, what I do is to, let's first try and index, okay, npm migrate make, so add index on to-dos title. So what you do, come back here, create title index. So just do an index, then now down here you also drop the index. Okay, so you can just use this to really make custom changes in your database, and this makes it really easy to adapt your database to whichever form you so wish. For those who feel this can help them, maybe you can give it a try. It doesn't really apply in Node.js, it's across the board. Okay, so once it's created, then now I migrate up. Then now also, let's say I need to add, so this one will be for to-dos, then add description on to-dos. Okay, so create a new migration for adding a description column to our to-dos. Come here again, then add description column on to-dos table, and you can see it's just the normal. Knex will give you just an interface that feels like you're writing SQL but in JavaScript form. So this one does the up, this one does the down. So this rolls back and this pushes forward. Okay. Also, let's just commit this, say add maybe changes to to-dos table. Okay, that's not the best commit message for this, but it will do for now. So in our users, we need to add a column known as gender because it's not there. So we make a new add gender to users. Okay, so if you look at this, you'll see that one thing to take note, gender, because you might have data in the database, you need some custom scripts. Okay, so we'll do it in two phases. I'll do this in two phases, but I can do it in one phase. I'll do it in two phases so that I explain to you. Maybe some use cases might require that, but you should do one thing in each and every step. Okay, so we are done with that. Then come to this. Now we are adding add users, add gender to users column. Okay, so this will be enum gender, okay, male, female, all those nullable. So I won't give it a default with a reason, so it's nullable at the moment. If there's data, all those fields will be null. Okay, then at this point, remove the gender, just drop the column, same methodology applies. So what would happen here is if I had data, I need to populate. Okay, so if I need to, let's say gender is nullable at the moment, but I want, for anyone who has not updated gender, we we will require them to have gender, otherwise we make it a default. So after adding that column, then now I'll go over all the users who have no gender, then create a default. Okay, but I'll add a default in another migration. So create another one, make gender. Okay, so that one I'll also come here, make gender column not nullable. So in here we will do it in 2 steps. Okay, so now at this point we need to update first. Okay, so we update these columns first. So let me just add this so that we have like a good sequence. So we'll do this in 2 steps. Okay, star. Okay, so step 1, update all null to other, then we alter the column to not nullable. Okay, so we'll start off with updating all the columns. So we do the update gender, the property yeah, ICY. So we need to update our user to now register gender. So when I come here, yeah, now it's there. So we now alter, wait a minute. So we, okay, update all to other, where null, gender is null, make gender other, then alter the column to be not nullable. Okay, dot wait a minute, alter table, wait a minute, table dot inner, the enums we had. Okay, is there okay, I don't think if this is connects, oh god, dot schema dot filter, there is something here. Dot alter table users callback, we have the table dot column. Table dot what? Enum set okay, what do we have here? Drop nullable, yeah, table dot drop nullable gender. Yes. Okay. Revert the gender. set nullable. Yep. For my document. So if you take a look at this, you'll see we are first altering the table to update all the details. Then now is where now we make it not nullable. Then at the point of rollback, now we revert this. So once you have all this, you can always reproduce this. So we can just run pnpm app migrate latest to run all the migrations. So you should have, wait a minute. Wait, what? So which migration is this? Migration fail invalid. Helpers must be both up and down. Okay. Something is off here. We say up, up, up. Oh, I see why. So the way I can do this, because I've seen helper, so instead of having it here, I can push it to this side to just make sure it's not run. Index, yes. So that helper is what was bringing the issue. So let's try and run latest. Yeah, so this now, if you have everything set up, then it should be able to show you we are up to the latest details. Now if we try to introspect our database, you'll see we have to-dos. So in users, you can see we have gender, name, email. In to-dos, you can see we have user ID, referential key. We also have description, and everything is in order. So if you check what migrations we are having, you can see they have been applied in order. So this is one of the ways you can really make good use of migrations to ensure that you have consistent schema and make sure that it's easy to collaborate. So if you find this kind of content useful to you, please don't hesitate to leave a like. See you in the next one on more of backend development and dev manenos.